Tonight, the speed limit bumped back up amid ongoing bridge blues across Port Augusta. And Whyala's Arium Steelworks take on their first apprentices since 2015.
This is Southern Cross News with Tim Hatfield.
Good evening, but first tonight a man has died following a serious crash between a bike and a car in Tumby Bay yesterday. The rider suffered severe injuries when a car collided with his motorbike on Tumby Terrace around 3 p.m. Emergency services responded to the scene and transported the man to the Port Lincoln Hospital, where he was later flown to the Royal Adelaide. However, he died overnight. Major crash investigators have spent the day examining the scene and are appealing for any witnesses to come forward. The man's death brings the state's road toll to 20 for the year. Federal Labor MP Nick Champion says the federal government needs to be constructive in dealing with the future of the Whyala Steelworks. His comments came during a visit to the city today, where he urged the coalition not to forget the issue.
Nick Champion knows a thing or two about the importance of heavy industry, with the Labor MP currently dealing with the closure of Holden in his Wakefield electorate. The Shadow Assistant Manufacturing Minister visited Whyala today, warning the same thing cannot happen to the Whyala Steelworks.
We want to make sure that tradition survives and make sure that it prospers, and Elizabeth will power on, I'm sure. But I'm confident that Whyala will power on as well.
The member for Wakefield met with local unions and State MP Eddie Hughes to discuss the current situation. He says Labor showed at the last election it's committed to the nation's steel industry, something he says should be coalition policy as well.
I think we'll play a very constructive role at the next election. Part of that is, of course, putting pressure on the government to do the right thing, to be engaged, and to make this a bipartisan thing.
The coalition has changed anti-dumping laws surrounding certain steel products and also gave Arium a $49 million loan to improve its ore beneficiation plants. However, it's so far been reluctant to commit money towards improving the steel plant, a point of contention between the two parties. Mr. Champion says he hopes they come to the table soon.
Be available to whoever might buy the steelworks to make sure that they're engaged in securing that future for this town and this region.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Port Augusta's Joy Baluke Bridge now has a compromised speed limit of 40 kilometres an hour. It was reduced to just 25 2 weeks ago after the closure of the Great Western Walking Bridge sparked pedestrian safety concerns.
Two bridges side by side, but the closure of the Great Western on the right has forced all pedestrians to use the Joy Baluke on the left. The Transport Department responded by reducing the speed limit on the main bridge from 60 to 25 kilometres an hour, but this week brought it back up to 40.
They're also going to put a painted line on the footpath. I'm not quite sure what that's going to achieve. I'm pretty sure everybody realises that they shouldn't step over onto the road, but if it makes them feel good, that's okay.
Port Augusta Council will be keeping the pressure on the government to install a guard railing separating pedestrians from the heavy traffic.
And more importantly, we'll be looking to get the ultimate end resolution.
Council is joining forces with motoring industry lobby groups to fight for complete duplication of the Joy Baluke Bridge.
And all of us will be going to meet state and federal governments to say this is not just a Port Augusta issue, this is a National Highway 1.
Also this week, marine access under the Great Western Bridge has been prohibited. Water users are now not allowed under or within 40 metres of the bridge.
It's unfortunate, and certainly we would like to get something there reinstated because we know how important it is to people from a recreational point of view and tourism point of view.
Removal or replacement of the Great Western Bridge is not currently in Council's draft 17-18 budget. Lauren Rose, Southern Cross News.
Arium has taken on 15 apprentices in Whyala to work across the mining and steel divisions. It's the first intake since 2015, with the company keen to continue building a skill set for their operations futures.
An apprenticeship at the Whyala Steelworks has been a local custom since the 1960s. Last year's financial troubles prevented the company from recruiting them, dealing a blow for local school leavers. 1 year later, Arium is once again recruiting, with the company keen to ensure there's a next generation of employees.
We have to look at the turnover that we've got and making sure that we've got other people coming into positions that's critical for the business.
Arium has taken on 15 electrical and mechanical apprentices, which will be split between the steelworks and the mines. They study at the local TAFE before gradually heading on site to learn more. Mr. Victor says it continues a historic partnership between the company and the institution.
Young kids coming out of school that's looking forward to opportunities like this, and it was always an opportunity that existed in Whyalla, and it's good to actually be able to do that again.
Jeremy James and Jack Taylor both applied for a position after seeing it advertised and have enjoyed it so far. They say the new apprenticeships are not only positive for them, but for the town's future.
It shows that we're still a growing town and that hopefully there'll be future opportunities for even possibly my kids.
They're looking towards the future, which gives you a good vision of job security.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. Still to come in tonight's local news, some top cops, Port Pirie police officers awarded for their service to their community. The details next. Welcome back. As the Broken Hill footy season kicks off, concerns have been raised about the readiness of Memorial Oval. Patchwork has only just been done on parts of the ground, and it's now worried the venue won't be ready for its first game next month.
Footy returned to the Silver City last week, but it won't return to Memorial Oval for some time.
What we're looking at this stage is we're hoping that by the 20th of May, which is round 7, we can get some football back on Memorial Oval.
At the start of the month, over 900 square metres of turf was laid at the ground. It is expected the surface will be fit for match play in 6 weeks. This means the scheduled games for rounds 3, 4 and 5 at the ground will be pushed back.
But we have to take into account we don't want to disadvantage the South Football Club, North or West, so we're going to be fair in all aspects of this.
It's been over a year since footy was played at the venue, with the Jube and Alma Ovals bearing the brunt of games every weekend. AFL Broken Hill understands the value of what games at Memorial Oval mean for the competition and what it means for the Central Football Club.
More people come up the club on a Saturday night when we have home games, so all the clubs are struggling at the moment to get some money into the club, so the more games we get here, the more money we make.
AFL Broken Hill will inspect the Oval in the next few weeks and decide the best course of action.
It's an unfortunate thing that this returfing program is eating into the footy season, but we also have to be mindful that what council's doing hopefully will set this oval up for the next 5 to 10 years.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
National Youth Homelessness Matters Day was held along the Port Lincoln foreshore today to spread public awareness about young people sleeping on the streets. The program, directed by West Coast Youth, offers crisis beds and housing for teenagers doing it tough and family counselling across the region.
It's a remarkable statistic when you think about it.
We do have 20,000 young people in South Australia that don't have a safe place to call home at night.
Every night, thousands of teenagers across the state are sleeping on the streets without the comfort of a bed or even a hot meal. But now there's people looking out for kids doing it tough.
West Coast Youth and Community Support have crisis accommodation for young people under 18 and over 15 who need a safe place to stay at night. We also have houses available in the community for young people.
The EP Youth program provides a safe shelter, but more importantly, counselling to try and re-establish broken connections at home.
Early intervention is really the key. The statistics show young people who require homeless support over their life trajectory will continue to need support, unfortunately. So if we can avoid that and try and reconcile families and relationships, then it's a much better option.
Last year alone, West Coast Youth provided 870 bed nights for homeless teenagers here in Port Lincoln. The initiative, just the first step in solving a national problem.
It's also to create awareness with people who might not see that we do have issues with youth homelessness in our region and in our state and across Australia.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
A number of police officers in Port Pirie were given top honour yesterday, with police awards handed out at a special ceremony. 7 officers were given service medals for their dedication towards the force.
Rewarded for their efforts and commitment to keeping Port Pirie safe.
The idea today, presented by our Assistant Commissioner of Estate Operations, is to formally acknowledge the service of the police.
7 members from the York Mid-North LSA received silverware for their services, ranging from 10 years to 40.
not just the important work that they do within the police and certainly within the community, but certainly their own achievements in terms of the dedication and commitment that they have provided to the South Australian Police.
The state's Assistant Police Commissioner awarded the recipients and in an address to the audience stressed how important the awards were.
There's quite a strict process that we go through. It really relies a lot on the diligence and the ethical behaviour of police.
A group of young St Mark's students were also invited to sing the national anthem to open the ceremony.
For the children to come in and actually see a different part of what we do as police officers is certainly beneficial for them.
Superintendent Denny was very proud of his officers and their service to the community.
Without these people working for the police department and assisting the community, we wouldn't be in the position we are today in terms of being able to provide the community with the good service that we do.
Kazai Sullivan, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. When we return after the break, watch out on the water. Fisheries officers on alert for those doing the wrong thing. The details ahead. Welcome back. There's been a crackdown on illegal fishing in Port Augusta. Last month, fisheries officers inspected 55 catches and issued 6 on-the-spot fines. And the department warns that penalties for trying to sell recreationally caught fish are even more serious.
There's now a daily bag limit of 25 razorfish and 20 blue swimmer crabs per person. Last month, 6 on-the-spot fines were handed out to Port Augusta fishers who broke those rules.
I think they know things are happening, but it changes that quickly. I think there's probably a little bit of confusion around there as well.
There shouldn't be any reason why people don't know the rules that apply to their favourite fish species.
Fisheries officers conduct inspections in plain clothes, so you mightn't know you're being blitzed until it's too late.
Don't think for a moment that just simply because fisheries officers have been to your region one day that they're not going to be coming back for a long period of time. We may be coming back the very next day.
And they're also cracking down on fishy business.
Recreationally caught fish cannot be purchased. It cannot be sold under any conditions.
Individuals who sell their recreationally caught fish could be slugged with a $20,000 fine, with the buyers facing 10 times that penalty. The recent changes are to try to conserve fish stocks, but local fishers here say the rules are too strict.
Definitely still angry about it. I mean, some of the bag limits, you're scraping to get a feed.
Lauren Rose, Southern Cross News.
Young people in Broken Hill will soon have a better chance of finding and keeping a job thanks to a skills training program. The initiative aims to help young job seekers get the skills they need to take up a job in the region.
Finding a first job could soon get a whole lot easier.
Quite often, it's that first experience in the workplace that's very difficult for people to overcome. And hopefully this program will enable people to get a bit of experience, get a few good comments on a CV and will help them get a permanent job.
Over $180 million has been committed over 4 years to deliver job training to people between 15 and 24. Several organisations, including local outlets JobLink Plus and Griffith Skills Training Centre, will be a part of the program. Local businesses are being encouraged to look into the initiative.
They might just find a young person that does have a great aptitude and great potential through this program that could end up being a long-term employee, and the best employees are the locally grown ones.
From April, young people will be able to undertake a voluntary internship of 4 to 12 weeks to gain work experience and boost their job prospects. Automotive, hospitality, business and retail sectors are all involved.
If you're out of school and don't make it into the workforce for a couple of years, every year that goes on, it's difficult. And so sometimes just having that time in a workplace so that you can show the person that you're working with and potential employers that you do have the ability, the drive, the potential.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Over $500,000 has been given to the Northern Demons Soccer Club in Port Pirie to upgrade their facilities. The extra $200,000 was announced this week as part of the state government's country cabinet visit.
Last year, Adelaide United made their way to Burn Park to play a friendly soccer match, and the visits could be more frequent with the upgrades now in the works.
By redeveloping the facilities to be the go-to pitch in the region is something that we want to pride ourselves on and hopefully create that interest for further A-League games as well.
Last year, the Northern Demons Soccer Club received nearly $300,000 in grants to upgrade their facilities, and this week they were awarded a further $208,000.
What we're going to do with it is to completely redevelop our club rooms to make them into a first-class facility.
A warm-up pitch is among the upgrades, along with a new water system to save the club some money.
The other thing that it will allow us to do is to provide some undercover seating for spectators as well.
The $500,000 transformation will start to take place over the next couple of months.
What we hope to do is to provide a pathway for our juniors to play at the highest level, and we've had success in the past with one of our juniors signing to Adelaide United's youth squad last year.
And it's been a perfect start to the season for the club.
It's just provided a boost to everyone. The players and volunteers as well are very excited about it.
Keziah Sullivan, Southern Cross News.
Well, time now to see what's biting out on the Gulf waters. Here's this week's fishing tips.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips from Port Pirie. It's time to get the salt and pepper out. The squid are here. This cold snap's brought them in early, so there's good ones to be had. So work your creeks area first, and then also don't forget the cross sticks area. Yellowfin whiting, as we've been telling you, are still along the beaches right throughout. They'll be here till Easter, so make the most of them because the season is fastly closing. Snapper, still look at the creek areas. They're good pan-sized fish. And then when we want some big ones, just head out to the Illusion. You should be right on.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, it's that time of year. It's perfect Easter weather leading up to it. Plenty of fish around, real mixed bag. Good catches of King George whiting. The crabs are there, but they're a little bit flowery at the moment. But probably the big news up here at the moment is the closure of the bridge. The boats can't actually go underneath the bridge anymore. So if you did want to go to the top of the Gulf, you have to launch on the other side.
Welcome to Whalers Fishing Report this week. Not a lot of action with the slower tides running this week, but still a few boats have been getting out with the great weather. There's been some good numbers of squid caught down towards the Mount Young grounds. The crabs are still around, but they haven't been running that well because of the slow tides. But this week, coming with the fresh tides, should see more improvements from the boats. Off the land-based, again, the tides have been dodged, so not a lot of action around. But I have heard of some good numbers of salmon, trout and snook coming from the Point Lowly areas and out towards Becky Point.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. We'll start over the Coffin Bay side. There's been a few gar and a few tommies in the Coffin Bay system. Out wide of Coffin Bay, there's been a few tuna out around Rocky. That's been the most reliable spot. There's been some good Samsons caught around Rocky as well. Moving over to Louth, there's been some good whiting caught out from Louth lately. In the bay in Lincoln, there's been some good squid caught, and the crabs are still hanging in there for the moment. They're not as good as they were, but there's still some crabs about. Well, that's all we've got for this week. We'll see you again next week.
Well, stay with us after the break. We'll have a look at the Friday forecast and the weekend weather. Welcome back. Turning to the weather now, a sunny day again this Thursday. Port Augusta on 31 with 30 in Whyalla and Port Pirie. Port Lincoln and Broken Hill both on 27 today. On the national satellite image, a broad high is keeping things clear for now. However, a cloud band is set to bring a showery change into the weekend. Out on the Gulf waters, the winds to 20 knots and mainly to the north. The seas to 1.5 metres and a southerly. Sunrise at 25 to 7. So a fine and sunny into the week tomorrow. Port Augusta expecting a top of 31. The same in Port Pirie. Whyalla and Port Lincoln both on 30 tomorrow, 28 the top in Broken Hill. And then looking at the weekend, a fine 25 on Saturday in Port Lincoln, ahead of showers and 20 on Sunday. Much the same for Cleve, 28 then down to 19. Woodin a final weekend, 29 and 21. Whyalla fine and warm, 32 for Saturday, down to 20 with showers on Sunday. 33 for Port Augusta before the change brings it back to 21. Much the same for Kadina with those showers, 30 then 21. A fine and sunny 32 to kick off the weekend in Port Pirie, though the change brings it back to a wet 21 for Sunday, 30 then down to 17 in Clare. Broken Hill final weekend 31 and then down to 22. And that is the local news for this evening. Don't forget, as always, you can stay up to date with us on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll see you back here tomorrow from 6:30. I'm Tim Hatfield from the team here at Southern Cross News. Enjoy your evening. Good night.